real business. Let me tell you something. When you really real, you ain't gonna have too many friends. Cause you ain't finna sit around nobody. You ain't finna fake it for nobody. You ain't finna sit around people you do not like and can't stand. You ain't trying to hang around a group of people. See, when you fake, you can put up with people's shit. You can accept what they doing. But when you real, you really real, check they ass. Cause you ain't got no chill. And they know they can't deal. Cause they know they can't put up with your real. When you really real, you can't fuck with everybody. And you gotta accept that, man. Cause that what come with the territory of being real. You ain't faking for nobody. You ain't fronting for nobody. Cause what they wish to be, you really is. You ain't got to put on. You ain't got to accept shit. You ain't got to act like. You ain't got to act right. You really is what you say you is. And they know that you ain't going. Cause you rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. Stand on what the fuck you believe in and don't turn for nobody.
Hey, Shalom. All praises to Yahawashi and Elijah. Much mercy to you, sincere brothers out there, the true house of David. Shalom, and much mercy to all you brothers that's with the Lord right now. That's not waiting on bodies or waiting on the covenant or waiting on none of that shit. Only the election is under grace right now to get themselves together, and what backs that up is the 144,000. Soon as they are sealed in their mind and have made their mind up as to who they are and that they are the election, the 4 winds of destruction is going to the Lord is going to command the angels to let loose the total destruction to this place. So the faster we can understand who we are and be convicted in our mind that we are of the election of God, we can get out of here. You don't have to do that video. You just have to know that you're of the Lord and believe in the Lord and Yahawashi and his covenant right now in this body. That's what this whole thing is about. And so that's why it's so much confusion. And that's why so many camps with so many different doctrines and going off at this and going off at this, is because it's a plan to keep you from really being convicted of who you actually are in the spirit. And shalom to all you haters of the new covenant, you false prophets, you false brethren that are just fucking 2/3 masquerading with the truth. Shalom to you. I want to go into Elijah, because when you go to, there's a couple things I want to go to. I may be able to squeeze it all in one lesson, but if I don't, I'll just do another one. But for now, I want to go into the Lord when he went into the synagogue, and when he told the synagogue that he was only sent for that one widow, but you had a whole synagogue full of people in the church. So it's like the same thing with Yahawashi. When you deal with Yahawashi, when he went into that church in Luke chapter 4, he was letting that whole church know that he wasn't sent for all the motherfuckers in that whole church. That's just like today. The Lord is not sent for everybody in the church or everybody in the group or everybody in the camp. He's not sent for that. Matter of fact, he's not even dealing with churches and groups of peoples or broad paths. You have to understand this, because the Lord mentions the narrow path is the only way, and a few will find it. So when the Lord went into that synagogue in Luke the 4th chapter, he actually pissed them off because he let them know that he wasn't sent for all those motherfuckers in the church. But I want to go right here to Matthew 17:4. Matter of fact, I started at 1, Matthew 17:1. And after 6 days, Yahawashi taketh Peter, James, and John and his brother, and bringeth them up unto a high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as light. So he brought his three uh, closest disciples up into this mount. So this is letting you know too, like the Lord is not really dealing with everybody. Um, Basically showing them certain things. The Lord is dealing with a few, and He's not showing everybody everything. Just like when He came back in the first chapter of Acts, and when He, like the last chapter of John, He told them to receive His Spirit. So a lot of you guys that's against the new covenant, it's like you're fighting against the Lord. You know, the same thing Gamaliel told them in Acts, I think 5. Guys are actually fighting against the new covenant, and they fighting against the Lord, bro. So that's how reprobate these guys are, because they're nothing but newscasters. They're sorcerers. They're like witches telling you the future and crystal balls and shit. Because when you only just focus on prophecy, then you're not getting yourself together. Like, you're not getting your character together. You're not really repenting. And then let alone, you're not even in the covenant with the Lord. So what we have is a bunch of motherfuckers, which they can tell you some events that's going to happen in the future. But in all, they're not getting you to be one with Yahawashi, because they're denying the power at the end of the day, telling you a bunch of events and prophecies. That's how backwards our people is. That's why the leaders of our people, they cause men to err. That's why the Lord said, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. Because these guys, their doctrine is not a doctrine that makes you one with Yahawashi right now. It's a doctrine that makes you one with the fucking world and the events that's going to happen in the world. You're supposed to be one with Yahawashi, not a fucking crystal ball sorcerer or a fucking witch. Guys is teaching in the spirit of fucking witches. They're bewitching the people like that sorcerer in Acts, because what guys is saying, they say they're under grace, but they don't agree with the covenant right now. So if, like I said in another video, if you don't agree with the Lord right now, then you're not under His grace. It's heavy, man. It only fucking makes sense. So we're dealing with a bunch of fucking carnal niggas in these last days. But anyway, Matthew 17, the Lord took Peter, James, and John up on this mountain. Now check this out. And was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias talking with him. So Elijah was was one of the top prophets, because he didn't see death. He was actually beamed up in a chariot, as guys say. Beam me up, Scotty. So Elijah, he was taken up in a chariot, and his understudy, he left him a double portion of the Spirit. And it's the same analogy when the Lord died and He left us the new Spirit and the new covenant. The apostles in Acts, they were teaching the new covenant in the book of Acts because the Lord left them that comforter. This is what the comforter is all about. If you're not in the covenant, you don't have the comforter. These guys, with all their prophecies and information, that don't make you have the comforter. Like I say, the white man, he knows a bunch of prophecies and history too. They don't put him in the spirit. So you guys are in the spirit of Esau. That's what guys are in the spirit of. Casting spells, newscasting. That's what you guys are doing. You're casting spell about the information of the world, rather than pulling men together with Yahawashi. Rather than teaching the new covenant in love, because you guys don't have no fucking love in your heart, because your dark is fucking it's cold, and you have stony fucking hearts. That's why guys say just focus on prophecy. When you do that, then guys ain't focused on repenting. They're focused on events and carnal shit that they see. This whole truth is about faith and having love in your heart and having that new heart. Repenting and renewing your mind. You can't renew your mind if you always focus on prophecies. It is crazy, bro. And so the order is the Lord, then his son, and then man, and then woman. Guys got you backwards. They got you worried about events in the Bible. They got you worried about other prophets and their prophecies, other than worried about Yahawashi and his law and his covenant and his commandment. They're literally making an excuse not to be in the covenant in these times, talking about they're under grace. You're not under any grace denying the Lord, bro. It don't work that fucking way. You have to have the Lord in your heart right now. The leaders of these people cause beings to err. So Matthew 17:4, then answered Peter and said unto Yahawashi, Lord, is it good for us to be here? If thou wilt, let us make 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elijah. While yet he spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and behind the voice out of them, the cloud which saith, This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased, hear ye him. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face and were so afraid. And Yahawashi touched them and said, Arise and be not afraid. And when they had lifted their eyes, they saw no man but Yahawashi only. And when they came down the mountain, Yahawashi charged them, saying, Tell the vision to no man until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. So there it is again. The Lord is making it known to the disciples, man. Don't tell nobody about this. And his disciples asked him, saying, Then when the scribes say that Elijah first must come, Yahawashi said unto him, Elijah surely first came to restore all things. And I say unto you that Elijah, check this out. But I say unto you that Elijah is come already, and they knew him not, but have done unto him as done unto them whatsoever they listed. Likewise, the Son of Man must suffer of them. Now check this out. Then the disciples understood that he spoke of John the Baptist. So the Lord right here, another point, another false doctrine that these apostles, this is another false doctrine. It's so much heresies they've told you. Now John chapter 17 right here, it tells you that, let me read it again. John 17:12. But I say unto you that Elijah is come already, and they knew him not. Right. So the Lord said Elijah came already. The great and the dreadful day is going into Yahawashi when they deny Yahawashi. John the Baptist came as Elijah. Elijah came already. So whoever the fuck they say there's Abba Bibbins is Elijah and all that, that's false doctrine too. Because out of the Lord's mouth right here, it says that Elijah is come already. Elijah, that was it for Elijah. Him coming to John the Baptist introducing the Lord, that was it. He didn't come anymore after that. The Lord said he came already. So it's more false doctrine and it's more heresy. So who the fuck is this guy, Abba Bibbins? Who these guys? You see what I'm saying? The Lord, the scriptures don't say that Elijah was going to come anymore after that. He said he's come already. So that's more false doctrine. So they're making men certain people that they're not. You see what I'm saying? And then they're worried about genealogies like that too. You're not even supposed to be worried about who this and who that anyway. But out of the Lord's mouth, he said that Elijah came already. So anyway, Moses and Elijah, they were on the mountain talking with the Lord. And I want to go into Elijah a little bit. I want to go right here to Luke real quick. But the point is that these guys have brought so many lies and heresies. But the thing about it is you have to be on a level in the scriptures to understand their lies and their heresies. Like these guys in these groups, they're not studied like that. So really they can't see what's going on like that. You have to be studied like that, and they know we're really studied over here. And so that's why too, like, nobody mentions us too, because they know it ain't a joke over here. They know we do this for real. And so they know like, if we're teaching the gospels in the new covenant, they know, like, damn, that's it. Like, them brothers got it over there. And all they can do is ignore it, act like we're not here, and just try to avoid us as much as possible. You see what I'm saying? Because over here, this is where the Lord is dwelling. So I want to go real quick to where the Lord, he went into the temple, and he was only sent to that widow. Luke chapter 4, verse 18. It says, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he have anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor, and he hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and the recovering sight to the blind, and set at liberty to them that are bruised. Matter of fact, Luke 4:16, and he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, and as his customs was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up for to read. For there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah, in whom he opened the book and found the place where it was written, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he have anointed me to preach the gospel unto the poor. Right? The gospel is when the Lord came. This is the true gospel. And he have sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captive, recovering of the sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. And he closed the book, and he gave it again to the minister, and sat down, and the eyes of all them that were in the synagogue were fastened on him. And he began to say unto them, this day is the scripture fulfilled in your ears. And all bear witness and wonder at his gracious words which proceeded out of his mouth. And they said, is this not Joseph's son? There's another cut for that Virgin Mary shit. There's another cut for this Virgin Mary shit. So I just wanted to say this on another note, going back to Abba Bivens and John the Baptist. What you have to understand is that these guys have taken away, they have added to the scriptures, because the Lord said that John the Baptist has come already. Malachi, the 4th chapter, is prophesying Elijah, is prophesying John the Baptist. It's talking about that's going into Elijah coming as John the Baptist. The Lord told you that the Lord that Elijah came already. So Elijah came as John the Baptist. The great and dreadful day is when our people they denied the Lord, like they're doing right now, and they're going to die in this time. You see what I'm saying? For that act that they did back then too. So everybody's here to get that judgment. But what I wanted to get at is, like, going back again. So whoever they make these guys, these people, Abba Bivens and Elijah and all that, that's all lies, man. It's all lies and heresies. You have to be on a level to see those certain shit. So the Lord said Elijah already came already, and our people did whatever they wanted to do with him. So just like they denied the Lord, they denied John the Baptist. They denied, you know what I'm saying? So it's very heavy. These guys in these groups, in these camps, if you're not studied, you'll be snared in their doctrine. You'll be snared in their way of teaching, the leaven in their doctrine, the holes in their doctrine. But if you're not studied, then you can't see the holes in their doctrine. Like I say, that's why they know over here that we're studied in what we're bringing out. And it's no really confuting us. You see what I'm saying? That's why guys, they don't have nothing to say because they know everything we're saying is right head on. We're no dumbasses over here, bro. Between me and the brother, you have at least over almost 15 years of scriptures. And the last 3 years, we've been extensive, close studying the new covenant. We've been extensively studying it and reading it and teaching it, and it's even more still coming out. So we're no fucking dummies over here. You see what I'm saying? We're no dummies. We might be rude of speech, but not in the knowledge that we know of the scriptures and of the Lord. Ultimately, the new covenant is all about repenting, changing your fucking mind, changing your heart. That's what a heart of flesh comes into. If you're able to change your fucking mind and your heart, then you could have the heart of flesh. Then Yahawashi will be in you. He is the heart of flesh. That is the laws being written in you. Until you fucking repent right now, you don't have a change of heart and you don't have any fucking power. All right? You will continue to be in these camps blinded. So going back to Luke 4, verse 22, and I'll bear witness him and wonder at the gracious words which proceeded out of his mouth. And they said, is not this Joseph's son? And he said unto them, he will surely say unto me this proverb, physician, heal thyself. Whatsoever we have heard in Capernaum, do also here in thy country. And he said, verily I say unto you, no prophet is accepted in his own country. So the true prophets, they're not honored, and they're not accepted. I don't know how many fucking times I can say this. And you see Nate Satan and shit being interviewed, and he's a fucking demon. That guy's a demon. All these fucking guys, they're demons, man. Being honored, bringing lies and heresies and shit like that. It's heavy. It's really heavy. But the only ones they can deceive is just you simple-minded niggas, man, that just want to follow something and be a part of something. It's heavy. And that's like 80% of our people is just fucking followers, man. Like 80% of our people is just followers. And then you have like the 5 to 10% that's actually the elect. It's heavy, man. So yeah, us true leaders, we're not going to be out there around niggas, man. We're not going to be around motherfucking phonies. Like my man Nino Brown said, man, once you're real, you don't have that many friends. If you have a lot of fucking friends and guys around you like that, that means that it's like crabs in the bucket, they all together. You know, two birds of a feather, they flock together. If you're amongst hyenas and wolves, that means you're a fucking wolf too. The lion, he could roll alone and beat the shit out of a pack of hyenas. Luke 4:24, and he said, verily I say unto you, no prophet is accepted in his own country. But I tell you the truth, many widows were in Israel the day of Elijah, when the heaven was shut up 3 years and 6 months, when that great famine was throughout the land. And so like now, it's a famine. It's a spiritual famine because guys is just telling you to focus on prophecies. When they're putting you in a famine because they're not teaching you the Lord. Without the Lord, you knowing all these prophecies, it don't mean anything. Like if you don't have the Lord and you know all these prophecies, it doesn't mean anything. So guys, they know all these prophecies, but they're not in agreement with the Lord. It don't mean anything. Guys just be standing out on the street just talking, bro. Talking. It's just empty, vain words. Talking about Moab and Esau, like, because guys are heathens, man. They're heathens, man. They're of the fucking world. They're taking the scriptures and they're breaking them down wrong. They're making you think that prophecies and events are more than the Lord's covenant and more than repentance and more than renewing their mind. Because none of these niggas ain't repenting and renewing their fucking mind, man. They're not repenting. They're just teaching you a bunch of shit. They're not fulfilling any of the prophecies. They're just teaching them. You know what I'm saying? They're not of the Lord. They're just teaching about events in the Bible. It's heavy. So they're like guys holding crystal balls and shit that could tell you shit of the future. It's heavy. So the Lord said, but I tell you of a truth, it was many widows that was in the day of Elijah when the heaven was shut up 3 years and 6 months, when great famine was throughout all the land. But none of them was Elijah sent, saving unto Sarepta, the city of Sidon, unto a woman that was a widow. And many lepers were in Israel in the time of Elijah the prophet, and none of them was cleansed, same in Naaman the Syrian. And all day in the synagogue, when they heard these things, were filled with wrath, because he was telling them, hey, he's not sent for all you motherfuckers. So basically, all you motherfuckers ain't going to be saved. But you guys in these groups too. Because the Lord, he's not sent for you guys. You guys deny the covenant. So us, what we're teaching is not for niggas in groups like that. It's not for all you guys. It's not for all you guys. You guys are in a famine. So we're not sent to you guys like that. What the Lord is doing is pulling a few out. And the guys is coming out. They coming out of these groups. They are. And I see the look on Cora and these guys' face, man. That dude Cora, he looks real worried. He doesn't look right. It's like what's happening is not really sitting well with these apostles and these guys in these groups. I'm telling you this. You can look at these guys. Like, what we're teaching ain't sitting well with guys, because it's exposing you, because you're fucking liars and false prophets. Like, guys actually think they can teach deceitfully, and ain't nobody gonna be raised up to like defend the Lord. It's heavy. So check this out. It says, and all day in the synagogue, when they heard these things, were filled with wrath, just like these guys. They're filled with wrath right now. They're filled with wrath. It's heavy too. It's really heavy. They're filled with wrath, because we're telling these guys that the Lord is not in these fucking groups, and he's not saving everybody in no fucking group. Just because you're in a group, that don't mean that the Lord is with you. Hey, it's actually opposite. You in these groups, the Lord ain't in these groups, because all these guys is making excuses not to follow the Lord's covenant and not to teach it too. They tell you just worry about prophecies that show you how reprobate guys are. It's heavy. And the Lord set us up to speak these things. He set us up to really speak these things. But anyway, Elijah was only sent to that widow. It's heavy. Now it says, verse 29, and rose up to thrust him out of the city, and led him unto the brow of the hill wherein their city was built, and they might cast him down headlong. But he, passing through the midst of them, went through his way, and came down to Capernaum, a city of Galilee, and taught them on the Sabbath days. And they were astonished at his doctrine, for his word was with power. You see that? So these guys, they're not teaching with power. They just standing on the fucking corner. Just a bunch of niggas, man. They just got some knowledge. It's heavy, man. It is heavy. It is heavy, bro. It is heavy, man. So I want to go to this, and I want to go back up a little bit, but I want to go into this story where the Lord mentioned in Luke 4. I want to just skip through this a little bit, get through it, and just show the examples, because the men of the Lord, they were the men of the Lord, the true men of the Lord, they were always by themselves. Like the Lord, he went to the mountains alone by himself. Like Elijah, he was in the wilderness by himself. And they were in caves, they were hiding out, they were by themselves, they were one by themselves, one with the Lord. You see what I'm saying? The Lord was with them. Now I want to read this real quick. 1 Kings 17:1. And Elijah the Tishbite was one of the inhabitants of Gilead unto Ahab. As the Lord God of Israel liveth, before whom I stand, there shall not be a dew of rain these years, but according to my word. So the Lord, he speaks of this account with Elijah. Now it says, now the word of the Lord came down unto him, saying, Get thee hence, and turn thee eastward, and hide thyself by the brook of Cherith, that is before Jordan. And it shall be that thou shalt drink of the brook, and I have commanded ravens to feed thee there. So the Lord is dealing with the man of the Lord by himself. This is an example how the Lord deals. The Lord, he was slaying the prophets of Baal, and he slayed that company of soldiers that he asked the Lord to rain down fire on them. Matter of fact, let me read that real quick. Let me go back. So a lot of fucking deception in these times, and what's so heavy is that you really got to be learned in the scriptures to really understand what we're saying. Like, if you're carnal and you like these niggas, you're not learned. You what they have is the elders just spoon feeding guys shit, and guys are not looking into it for themselves. They're just being spoon fed, and they're not reading for themselves. They're just taking everything, like a fucking baby being fed, spoon fed certain shit. It's heavy, man. It is heavy. And so what has happened? This is what's really happened. These camps and these groups were set up to have you thinking in a certain way, and to have you in a certain mind frame. So when us brothers come at the last, really breaking down the Gospels and the New Covenant and Yahawashi and all of that, by that time, the majority of guys will be swept away with the doctrine of the camps and the synagogues, where, like, what we're saying, a lot of guys are just going to brush it off. You see what I'm saying? So that's why Esau had these guys highly esteemed and honored. Because, like, if you're honored and highly esteemed and guys look at you as highly esteemed, they're looking at your word as gold. Like, and can't nobody else say anything, because we ain't been in the truth 40 years, 50 years lying and shit like that. So guys is looking carnally like, oh, these guys, they know it. They don't know what they're talking about. These elders, they've been, So it was set up like that. But the only ones that's going to be able to really see what's happening is the elect. The rest of you guys, it don't matter if you don't believe what we say. Who cares what you guys think? Because you're dead any fucking way, just like you're dead fucking elders. Like I say, we don't owe none of these guys nothing, because what they've done is gave you half of the truth, to where you have to figure out if they're lying or not. It's heavy. It is really heavy. So, like, if you don't really know the scriptures like that, and you don't understand Yahawashi, and the reason Yahawashi speaks of Moses and Elijah is because Moses had the old law. Yahawashi was given a new law. Now, when you go into Elijah the prophet, Elijah, as I'm going to go into some of these stories, but Elijah was one of those prophets where when he left Elijah, he did a lot of slaying. He slayed a lot of the prophets of Baal. He slayed that company of those soldiers. He had the Lord rain down fire out of heaven. And when Elijah left, he left that spirit with Elisha. And it's the same concept with the Lord leaving the comforter. That's why he had them go on the mountain. He had Moses there, and he had Elijah there. These two important men. Elijah did a lot of slaying for the Lord, and he was a very heavy prophet. That's why he came as John the Baptist to introduce Yahawashi. And like I say, whoever Abba Bivens is, I don't know who the fuck that guy is, but the Lord said Elijah already fucking came. And Elijah was beheaded as John the Baptist. So whatever these guys and their false doctrine that they're telling you, it's not nothing. It's some made up shit. That's why we say these guys are like witches. They got like a witch's brew in the pot. They fucking bewitched you fucking people, like that sorcerer in the Acts. He was set up to bewitch the people. That's what these guys are doing. So that when they say just focus on prophecies and shit, what they're telling you is don't worry about repenting, don't worry about none of that. Just worry about the events in the world. What's more important than all that shit is repenting and being in the covenant with Yahawashi. So this chapter, 1 Kings 17, I'm gonna have to come back and finish this chapter where Elijah, he brought that lady's sons back to life. And I'm gonna have to do a part 2, and I'm gonna go into it in the next part. But the Lord, he mentions Elijah and Moses for specific reasons, to show you the law that was given to Moses, that the law is given unto Yahawashi, and the power that Elijah had, that's all in Yahawashi. So that's why the Lord said a greater than Solomon is here. Yes, Solomon had 1,000 wives. Okay, okay. But in the spirit, he's showing you that he's greater than Solomon could ever be. And so he's greater than the prophet Jonas. And Elijah, he showed you what Elijah is, that when he left and got taken up, Elijah didn't see death. Elijah left that spirit with his understudy, and it's the same concept with the new covenant and the comforter. So like if you're not accepting the new covenant, you don't have a comforter. It's crazy. All you fucking witches and you fucking warlocks. I'm gonna have to come back to 1 Kings chapter 17 and go into this a little bit more, on the second part. But a greater than one of Solomon is here. And I'm gonna have to come back and get into this a little bit more. But Lord willing, you brothers edified for this first part. It's just a lot of points, and I didn't know, like when I was thinking about this lesson, going into certain heavy points, it's like, wow, that's certain things are really heavy, and certain things take time to break down. But I hit you brothers a little bit later. Hey, repent, man, repent. Hey, with that, hey, shalom.